podcast where everyone should be seen and heard. And my first formal guest is Aaron in California. Hello, guest. Hello, Aaron.
Hello.
Engineer in California. We'll be
That's
talking
right.
about pop culture, politics, and the states of America. That's the way I refer to it, the states of America, because
There's 52 of them now, right? I mean, that's what Herschel Walker seems to think. So I mean, I'm confused.
oh my God, which one of those personalities was that?
Oh, God only knows.
Oh my goodness. So today's before we get to tomorrow, of course, we've been hyperventilating since the SCOTUS ruling the other day. Everybody's hyperventilating, even Aaron, because he's a decent man
Thank you.
that cares about women in this country, which is a novelty at this point. So women, basically, we're kind of we have to until somebody proves us otherwise. Everybody's uh, unusual suspect.
Seems to be anymore. This place has gone to hell. Am I allowed to say that? I think I just did.
Yeah, we'll try. Both of us will. I get kind of emotional too sometimes because just some of the stuff is going on. We can't help it. But yeah, we can keep it PG-13. We just kind of.
I'll try.
Well,
I make no guarantees.
We can censor ourselves. We'll go bleep bleep. Bleepity bleep bleep.
Remember to.
I think I did that.
You might just get a long bleep, and who knows?
I did that in a TikTok video. I went bleepity bleep. I said, I can't even remember. I had to go look at the video, but I know it was a video, and I was really pissed off. And I was like, these bleepity bleeps.
I mean, today's climate, it just is hard not to be upset. I mean, if you're not upset, you're not paying attention. I don't know how else to put it. Everything's just nuts. It's hard to say what I want to say without having to bleep myself. Let's put it that way.
Just say it and put the bleep in there, because actually that might be effective too. Bleep.
I'm so used to not saying that, it's probably going to be more difficult for me to think about saying it. I mean, I get so passionate that I drop F-bombs like there's no tomorrow, so.
You're not the only one. And I'm so glad that we're on the same page because, like I said, it's like you don't know who's who, even when you see their tweets or whatever, their posts and stuff. But like, we're actually, you and I, from what we've been talking about, are basically in alignment of the blup the bleep bleep in this country. This country.
Right.
The shenanigans. The shenanigans.
Probably the safest way to say it, I guess.
I almost dropped the F-bomb.
Demonetized at the very beginning of this, so.
But I got a GoFundMe link. I'll post it in the description. One way or another.
Maybe your viewers love hearing the F-bombs and all that, but I don't think YouTube does. So.
Well, the way, the algorithm, they changed the algorithm of like a lot of these sites, YouTube and TikTok and everywhere. So they have like little techniques where they can sense words or sense like certain words. And when, like at the end of a video, when you're editing in the YouTube studio, they'll say, "Is this video for children or not?" So if you hit the button that says it's not for children or it is for children, you're not going to get monetized. Which I don't understand that part of it, but like if it's for children, it's not going to get monetized. They'll put ads on it and all this stuff. So I think the us being real, you know. I mean, when Howard Stern started out, how many bleeps did he have when he started?
I didn't know I didn't know how to think about that guy when he first came on. It's like, so what? His shtick is the fact that he gets to swear on radio. Because like, put me on there, I could do that too.
It was a big deal though back in the day.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, I was like, oh, this guy's using swear words. Oh, that's uncouth. You can't do that. It's like, why not? We talk like this all the time.
Well, I think it was more not just the swear words though. It was like the context of some of his subject matter. Like a lot of his subject matter was very, like I didn't like a lot of his subject matter, and basically I thought he was annoying.
Much myself, but then again, at the time I was basically some Republican slob growing up in Indiana. We were all Republicans out there up until I was old enough to go to school and know better.
Right. So okay. So speaking of like, are you still friends with a lot of your being an ex-Republican like?
I wouldn't say a lot of them. I've cut a lot of them out for being MAGA. I don't really speak to a whole lot of people from back home anymore. I mean, on Facebook, I would say that I'm still friends with quite a few of them, but I don't even use Facebook anymore. I'm not a big Mark Zuckerberg fan at this point.
Right.
So I basically cut ties on Facebook. So if I'm not talking to you on Facebook Messenger, I mean, communication works both ways. You can reach out to me, and I can reach out to you, but I haven't reached out with too many people these days. You don't know who you're going to talk to anymore. You grew up with them all your lives, and the next thing you know is like they're all MAGA, and like that's not the person I knew.
Mm-hmm.
You're not at all who I thought you were. I mean, I probably should have known better if I paid more attention. It's like, yeah, this is actually exactly who you are, but I didn't mind it at the time because I thought I was too.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew out of it. I got smarter. I started thinking for myself, and they're still stuck in the backwoods. Like, I don't even speak with my older brother anymore. He's gone off and married some MAGA woman, and we were having a conversation once, and we were, he's always been a big car guy. He got me into cars. I love cars. I tried to have a conversation with him one time. It's like, my oldest son, he's into cars too. We were looking at getting him a car, and he was looking for something, and he found out like some system for my cars, because he's such a great kid. He loves looking out for me too. He's like, yeah, that's really cool. I'll talk with my brother about that. That'd be like our way in to have a conversation. And so I shared it with him, this twin turbo kit that my son had found. It's like, I really want to put this on my car. He's like, dude, that's sweet, right? Sweet. Okay, I was like, okay, great. I found a way in. Let's have this conversation. And then he starts talking about, well, man, I'll tell you, this whole country's gone to hell just because, Trump was going to bring back all these American jobs. I was like, oh, God, here we go. And sure enough, yeah, I was going down that road. It's like, you actually believe that? You really believe that? He's like, oh, don't tell me you're one of them libtards like Dad. It's like, well, if that's the way you want to put it, then yeah, yes, I am. And then the conversation just died. It's like, you know what? I lost my brother that day.
Mm-hmm.
And his response was, you need to get out of California. That place has done messed you up. Go back and get a real education in Indiana. I was like, so I can be as stupid as you are? No thanks. I'll pass.
So your son, how old is your son?
He's 15 and a half. He's currently working on getting his driver's permit. So he's working on going through the whole driver's program out here, and he's gonna be 16 at the end of the year. So he's getting all excited about that. Both my boys, they're pretty smart. I take a lot of credit.
So did you go to? So what kind of church did you go to?
Oh, let's see. I couldn't remember the denominations, but that was kind of interesting. I tried to do the whole God thing back when I was younger, and was hanging out with a bunch of prayer circles in school and whatnot. Went off to college, found some other people that were interested in trying to do that. And I'll tell you, one of the things that made me stop going to church was every time that we would go to a new church, they'd all, welcome the newcomers, right? And, have the whole congregation kind of meet the newcomers. Look at who these people are. They ask certain questions like, so what do you want to do when you grow up? What are you going to school for? It's like, I'm going to be a mechanical engineer. And then they went on down the line. It's like, I'm going to be an electrical engineer. And then they start, talking about the people that are currently there. It's like, what do you want to do? I want to be a pastor. And then they all start cheering. It's like, okay, so I'm nothing to you guys then? Because I don't want to be part of your
it's all about those ties.
I'm nothing to you guys.
I think it's those ties because they're trying to find somebody that was going to continue the cycle of the ties and getting money into the church, the congregation.
Yeah, and when we said that, it's like, these guys, I don't think they're going to be out on the con, so let's
in on the con.
I don't know. I mean, the way I look at it, religion is just pleasing people. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Everyone's entitled to theirs, but I don't see a whole lot of good with it. I really just don't. But that's me.
At this point, because I grew up in a Southern Baptist church, a historic Black Southern Baptist church. But when I moved from Alabama, that I went to like denominational churches here in Nashville. I even at one point this is when I was waitressing and bartending. There's this lady I work with, and she and her boyfriend tried to get me into Scientology. Now this is before like people were talking about. This was like in the 90s, and I really had no interest in Scientology, but she was talking about it and everything like that. So this is before I found out like it was literally a cult. This woman, do you realize this woman and her boyfriend came to my house and they kept talking about it. They wouldn't leave. They wouldn't leave my house. 3 days later, like I tell them I had something to do and I had to go, and they were literally not leaving my house like for 3 days. They didn't leave my house.
They lived in your house for 3 days?
They didn't really live in the house. They were just there. Like they wouldn't leave. They were, and I couldn't leave my house. I couldn't do what I needed to do because they literally like would not leave. Like I couldn't push them out.
Held you hostage in your own home.
Literally.
You wouldn't accept them.
And they kept talking about Scientology. Do you know how I got scared at the third day? By the start of the third day, I started getting really scared because I was going into the kitchen. I go into the kitchen, and then they follow me into the kitchen, both of them. I go to the bathroom. They were like following me, and I had like a split level house. They followed me like everywhere I went, and they kept talking about Scientology. And you know how I got rid of them? Third day. I was terrified at this point. I started screaming at the top of my lungs. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. I was screaming that. That's all I could think of because literally I was so terrified at that point because I was like, these people are not leaving my house. What is wrong with this girl? They keep talking about this Scientology stuff. And I screamed.
I translate that. The only way I could fight the crazy is to be crazier than the crazies.
Exactly. I screamed, literally. I was screaming at the top of, the power of Christ compels you. Literally. And then they left. They left after I did that. Like, I sat down on my bed. But you know that came from the movie Exorcist. I mean, wasn't it The Exorcist?
Well, I mean, I guess the next logical step is to start spewing pea soup out your mouth. I mean, that would scare me away too.
But that's all I could think of. Like, okay, I just channeled my inner banshee and started screaming at the top of my lungs. The power of Christ compels you, and they left. I was like, I could have done this 2 days ago. But no, I sat down on my bed because I was in shock. I was like, I can't believe these people held me hostage in my house for 3 days. But then, I'm thinking, of course, people are like, well, how did you let them? It wasn't I didn't get physical. They didn't get physical on me, but they were trying to. It was like they were trying to work psyops or something.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, it was just shocking even for me because I'm not that type of person. But I thought she was a friend of mine, so I was trying to be a reasonable, hostess or whatever. Because I'd never gone through anything like that. I was never prepared for anything like that. Never. So this was like my first introduction of ever even knowing what Scientology was. And then years later, when I started seeing stuff about Scientology, I remembered that crazy woman and her boyfriend holding me hostage in my house.
It's like, I got something to say.
The only thing that saved me was the only thing that saved me was a quote from a movie.
Well, I mean, there is power in movie quotes. I mean, like my dad and I, we'll have a conversation like just basically pure movie quotes.
But who would have thought, though? Seriously, I don't know what made me think of it, but that's all I could think of. I was like, nothing else is working. I was like, nothing else was working. Like, I mean, at one point I was just like, you guys got to go because I got stuff to do. I can't stay in this house babysitting y'all all the time, because I knew her, but I didn't know her that well, and I was not going to leave her in my house, and I didn't know her and that man. So they literally held me hostage in my house for 3 days until I screamed The Exorcist. But I mean, I laugh about it now. But like literally after they left, I sat down on the bed and I had a cold. My whole body was cold all the way to the bone there. I was like, I can't believe I was held hostage.
I had to go and recharge after that one.
That was terrifying, though. It really was. When I think about it, now you see all this stuff with Tom Cruise, and you see what's her name, Lee Remini talking about science. I was like, these people, and then I was also thinking too, is majority, palm-colored people that are in this cult. So I was thinking that, I'm a person, a woman of color. So what were they gonna do with me if they dragged me into that cult? They were gonna put me on that ship.
Kind of like what we were talking about earlier before we went live here. I mean, I honestly can't imagine what you'd go through because you've heard a little bit about my upbringing. We had the one black kid in our high school, and that was it, right? Mm-hmm. We had the one Asian kid in our high school, and they were happy to be from the same family. Again, I still can't figure that one out. It was like I can't imagine what you went through because my whole life has been completely a different story. I can't imagine what you've been through and what you would have gone through had you joined up with that. I really just can't. This world has shown me so little about what really has happened in our history. As we were talking about earlier, I feel like I'm a fairly educated man, but there's so much out there.
But you're playing catch up.
Yeah, and it's overwhelming. It's shocking.
But a lot of us are playing catch up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just kind of goes to show just how deep we've buried everything.
No, it's not.
Dealt with any of this.
It's not that you buried anything. This country manufactured such powerful propaganda because we were not just you. I was indoctrinated as well.
Well, I wasn't saying like you and I that we buried it. I'm just talking about we as in like society.
Right. We have been collectively.
So much, so
yeah.
We just can't deal with it.
We've been collectively indoctrinated. Everybody has been collectively indoctrinated. And now, since the events of a Doofus and Chief's reign of terror, this entire country, everybody in this country is suffering from a collective PTSD. And I'm not a doctor. Don't quote me. I'm not a doctor. But from what I know of PTSD, it looks to me like everybody in this country is suffering from a collective PTSD. And it's not getting any better.
No, I would say it's not.
Thanks to the court that's hijacked, the court is holding us all hostage.
I'd agree with that. I mean, there was something I saw on Twitter the other day where someone had posted something that supposedly, Justice Thomas had said, a while back, saying like, these liberals have cost me 47 years of pain. Now it's time for me to dish out 47 years of pain right back. And then you start seeing all of these, these things being undone by the Supreme Court, and it's like, yeah, he means business.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is not meant to be helpful. As people have been saying about the Republican Party for a while, the cruelty
is the point. Right.
And then he's showing us that the cruelty is the point.
Here's another thing besides that, because that's just a given, and they're not going to stop now. They're on a roll now. Nobody's stopping them. Here's another point. Well, I thought about this. Ketanji Brown has not formally been seated on the bench yet, right? So I feel like they're sabotaging the legitimacy of the court before the first historic black woman gets to sit down on the court. I think they're sabotaging it to render it illegitimate by themselves. I mean, it was already rendered illegitimate in our eyes but I think they're now, because her appointment was such a historic appointment, they are just going scorched earth at this point, because they don't, especially her being a black woman. I mean,
that's an interesting point that you bring up here, and I guess due to the blunt force trauma that we've all been dealing with, every day we get hit over the head with something else. I mean, I feel ashamed to say this, but I actually had forgotten about that whole thing, because it's hard to keep up when they keep pouring more on top, and that's the strategy.
Yep.
That's the point. My late best friend, may she rest in peace. She was amazing woman. She had read something that's basically the whole point of this. Always play offense, never play defense. And they're showing us that every day. They never answer for what they do. They just play more shock and awe. Mm-hmm. They throw more at you and more at you, and every day more and more and more. And they know that the human psyche just cannot take all of this. They know that.
Yep.
Which is why that everyone keeps saying, and whether it be sarcastic tweets or whatnot, that they keep saying, don't forget about this in November, because
we're gonna forget.
The psyche is only meant to handle so much at a time, and yet we're always being overloaded. Always. There's a reason for that.
You know what I just thought about? We're all literally, okay, imagine, which I can't imagine because I've never been in the military, but I've seen, I've always been interested in like war history, especially World War I, because not a lot of people talked about World War I. So I would go and watch these videos of soldiers. Like I've watched like the actual videos of soldiers from World War I, what they were going through, like the shell shock. I watched all those kind of videos of the soldiers when they got back and they could not like function or anything like that, and they were literally sending those guys back. Like they would come over, get in the hospital for a while, and they still obviously couldn't, they function. They're shaking and they couldn't function, but they would send them back into war. And I think that's what the Republican Party, with what they're doing in the courts, that's what they're doing to us. Like, I feel like one of those soldiers from World War I that was shell shocked.
I feel that. I can see that. So Friday, for example,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if we're ever going to forget about what happened on that day. At my company, basically our number one and number two guy, they were out with COVID. So my boss, being the engineering manager, he left a little early, so then that kind of made me in charge of the day, at least for the engineering department. I was so pissed off, I couldn't function. I couldn't think. I couldn't process. I was just so defeated and so angry and so upset. And we had a new hire We hired a female engineer. We had an opening, and she blew us away. We hired her, and I looked over into her corner, and I could see her just visibly shaking after reading the news, knowing that what just happened. And I opened a conversation with her. I was like, "How you doing?" And I knew, I knew what was going on, and I asked her, "How are you doing?" She just kind of looks over and is like, "I mean, if you have to ask, I'm not doing well." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I can see that." It's like, I don't have a lot of power, but what I do have, I'd like to offer. If you want to go home, go home. I knew that there was no point in continuing the rest of the day because we weren't going to get much done.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that had happened, if anybody actually feels like that was the right decision, I really honestly just don't want to talk to you. I really don't. I was just so upset. I couldn't even put words to it. So basically, I just looked at the rest of the team. It's like, go home.
That's how I've been feeling. I've been feeling more so like I was saying. I have two daughters. I'm worried about them because they're pretty, and then the license that the courts have given men over women's autonomy in this country. There are going to be a lot of SAs in this country now, and the men, they got the green light from the court and from the Republican Party to go ahead and do whatever they want to women. And even for myself, I mean, just because, like I said, I'm a survivor. Just that immediate, I felt an immediate, not just fear, but immediate. I can't even explain how I was feeling Friday. It was kind of like I felt as devastated Friday as when I saw the plane hit Twin Towers.
Oh, I hear that. I remember that day too.
I felt that devastated, and like I couldn't function. Like I was telling you before, like I'm trying to get my online degrees when I can, studying every day, and then like doing the podcast and trying to figure out how to monetize to do that. I could not function till today. I made myself today. When you sent me that message, that helped. I just got my cup of coffee. You sent me the message on Twitter. I was just like, because I hadn't had anybody to talk to. My son comes in, but he goes to sleep, so he doesn't talk to me. So I'm literally here by myself. Nobody to talk to. Even my friend in New York, I hadn't talked to anybody since Friday until today when you sent me that message. I've been doing TikToks, but that's not the same thing. So I was trying to process that too as well. And I was just going over conversations I've had with women. Like I I don't think I'm ugly. Of course I can't. I'm not physically able to have kids anymore. I've had four, but I've had a procedure. I've had the procedure. But if a guy decides to do whatever he wants, he's not going to stop and ask me that. He's just going to do whatever he wants.
Right.
So
I think that's the whole point of this whole thing. Absolute lawlessness is basically what we're descending into.
Before that, everybody can have a gun. It's the Wild Wild West. That was before the ruling, and then before that, no more Miranda rights.
Exactly. So it just all of this in my mind just means that we're basically in full authoritarianism mode.
Yep.
We've started Miranda rights. We're going to arm everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start taking away women's rights to do anything. So because these sick individuals can't get it any other way, go ahead and rape somebody.
Right.
It. We won't even tell you your rights. We probably will take you to Burger King before we even let you go from the station, kind of a thing. I don't know what we've become, but this is not how a country works.
And the thing is, the majority did not vote for any of this. But
No.
yet we've got boots in our throat because nobody's helping us. It's like DMs. Okay, after that, I see this video. I think I duetted somebody's video. The DMs go on Capitol Hill to sing a hymn.
Yeah, I heard about that.
To sing a hymn. Like,
obviously, that's our subject. You know, hey, they took our rights away, but I feel better because you sang a song.
Yeah, I don't feel better. No, people that saw that video know we don't feel better. And we're trying to keep this. We're trying to keep this PG-13, but bleep 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 bleep. No, when I saw that, I mean they're singing a hymn.
You know, like we were talking about earlier, right? So I don't feel like there's really a whole clear choice here in voting anymore. I mean, you've got one American political party that's actual full-blown terrorists, so not voting for that.
That's what they are.
And then you've got the other party that's
in denial. They're in denial.
But the majority of that mixed bag is spineless whim. Please don't do that. That's not a good thing to do. Man, don't get out of the way. If you're not going to go out there and get mad and get angry, get out of the way. We're pissed. And singing a hymn on Capitol Hill, that doesn't express anything except for I really don't want to do my job, but please vote for me.
Right. And then the emails. Okay, I don't have any money. I have no money.
Who does?
Okay, you guys do stock buybacks. You guys each are worth like over several $1 million. Each of you guys are worth several $1 million. If you guys need money that bad, go into your stock portfolio and get the money you need for your campaigns because I don't have any money. I have no money.
You know, it's funny. There's a couple of things I can say about that one. One, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Producers, but basically the whole point of that is never put your own money in the show.
Right, but that's what they're going to have to do.
Right? And then the other thing I can say about that is the number of people I follow on Twitter, they all were basically saying the same thing right after that verdict came down on Friday. Cue the emails, and then sure as shit, there they were. You know, I can't tell you the number of text messages and emails I got saying, I'm so-and-so, and this SPeteH just did this, so send me money. Like, what money do you think I have?
Like, y'all barely gave us our own stimulus when it mattered.
I didn't even get mine.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. My ex-wife actually committed tax fraud. Like, literally committed tax fraud. I won custody of my kids back in 2019, Valentine's Day 2019. But she still files with them, and I got rejected when I tried to e-file mine, saying those Social Security numbers have already been claimed. So I lost out on like 2/3 of all those stimulus checks because the IRS didn't think I actually had any kids. So when I was expected to get stimulus check plus the extra bonuses for having kids, I got nothing. I got mine, and that was it.
So what did she say?
Thousands of dollars that I never received that I couldn't use to take care of my kids with because she commits tax fraud, and the IRS is like, what do you want me to do about that?
So she got away with it?
Correct the situation. It's like, well, we're not going to. And I'm like, well, thanks for the service. Appreciate it. So nice of you.
So what did she say? What did she say?
What did who say?
I mean, she didn't call you and say, here's some money for the kids?
Yeah, right. Good luck with that. So I mean, basically, I've been talking with my attorney about this for a while now. I sent her all the details, and I'm like, is this money worth going after? She's like, yes. And I'm like, well, then do it. In order to get that money back, I have to go through family law, and then they have to basically be the ones to tell the IRS, make sure this guy gets his money.
Right.
Because the IRS is like, we don't handle this stuff. We go by what we were told. And I'm like, man, what is the point of you? Like, why are you doing this? You'll gladly take our tax money, you know, and then you're just not going to bother to do the right thing when you have the evidence. I mean, I sent them all of the details, everything. They're like, we're not a law system here. I was like, well, maybe you should double check the facts before you just dole out cash. Maybe, just maybe. And then their response is, oh, well, we're so severely understaffed. And I was like, you know what happens with the company that's understaffed? They hire people.
I saw a lady post a TikTok. She does tax law, and she posted a TikTok about how I'll send you the link later. But basically, the TikTok was telling people you could file a certain status where you're exempt from paying taxes, and it's totally legal. And she said the reason that the tax people won't tell people about it, the regular citizens, is because they know the regular citizen cannot afford to get the tax code book, which is over $300, and they price it like that on purpose so the regular Joe can't afford. They're not going to spend the $350 for the tax code book so they can look up the tax code. And although those codes in that book is how these rich people are getting over and doing these loopholes and getting richer in this country. So I was thinking to myself, I can't afford it. Like, I have no money, but if I got a couple, like one more person, maybe we could split buying a tax code book. If it's that important.
I mean, it's worth thinking about.
Yeah. But yeah, she said they priced the book like that, $350, because they know the regular person doesn't have that. But I'm trying.
Honest, you know, a tire blows out on your car, and you don't even have enough money to afford emergency services to get your tire.
Exactly.
You know that too.
Yep. And those taxes that were supposed to fix the road where your tire got blown, those are your taxes that are supposed to have the road fixed. Where your and then you can't sue the city to get your car fixed when they already got your taxes that were supposed to fix the road. Now your car's messed up, and you're out of pocket, more out of pocket, because you got to get your car fixed. It's a scam.
I gotta say, I feel pretty fortunate being out here in California because our roads aren't that bad, or at least where I'm at, and all the roads at which I travel. But I mean, I could tell you, some of the friends that I still talk to occasionally, yeah, they've got potholes out there that'll swallow your car, and basically, the county's like, what do you want me to do about it?
Right,
like,
we can't sue.
The road,
they have a clause where you can't sue it, but they demand you pay taxes, and they tell you those taxes are supposed to keep the roads maintained. The roads are maintained.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right.
I can't figure this out.
It's a racket. It's a racket.
Honestly, I saw something on Twitter the other day that that people were talking about rackets, and it's like the idea of insurance came up, right? And somebody was talking about, I was like, tell me why under general insurance or health insurance specifically are the eyes and teeth not covered? I have to have separate insurance for that.
Yep. Or come out of pocket.
The whole point of insurance to me sounds like a complete scam in the first place.
Yep.
So not only do I spend hundreds of dollars a month for insurance, I mean, thankfully my company, bears a lot of the cost of that too. But okay, so the company bears a lot of the cost. I pay hundreds of dollars a month, and then I still have co-pays.
Yeah.
So I haven't paid enough.
Right.
And then on top of co-pays, I have a deductible. So in order for my insurance to kick in, I have to spend more money before insurance starts doing its thing.
And God forbid you have a pre-existing condition.
Don't. You're just done.
You got a pre-existing condition.
I mean, and you have some of these congressmen that are out there trying to tell, lobby for what pre-existing conditions are. And it's like, do you breathe? Yes, that's a pre-existing
condition. Right. Yeah.
I mean, everyone's going to have something, and these insurance companies, they don't want to shell out of their pockets for anything, because it's like, wait a second, if I pay you, that's less money I get to keep. I'm like, well, how do you think I feel when I have to pay my bill?
And it's not only that. It's like, okay, how much more money do you need? How much more money do you need? I mean, you're itemizing our basically insurance is like a warranty or maintenance fee of your whole body, or whatever you buy insurance for. So take health insurance. That's a warranty maintenance thing for your body. But like you said, still there's the eyes, that's separate. The teeth, that's separate. And then they'll find something else, the pre-existing condition. It's like, oh, that makes the copay go up, or And then, God forbid, you need medicine,
Yeah.
and then you get the medicine, and you have side effects. Then you got to get medicine to fix the side effects. It's a racket. The whole country is a racket.
Right. I don't know. I mean, obviously they designed the system real well because it's working for the rich guy, but it ain't doing
Yep. But see, the thing about it is, if the lockdown didn't happen, people wouldn't be waking up to this stuff. That's why.
Yeah, there's.
If the lockdown didn't happen,
people would still be in the dark.
People wouldn't be waking up to this. So that's why they flipped and freaked out once people started, like, because I especially noticed on TikTok, a lot of people were learning stuff. They were learning, no matter what people think of TikTok, there is a lot of people learning about things that they needed to learn about, like what you're saying, that you didn't know a lot about your history stuff. These young kids too. There are so many scholars and educators on TikTok. So people were locked down, not going outside the house. They were watching TikToks, learning so much. That's why these politicians flipped out and said, we got to open the country. Besides the economics, because they were losing money. But I think the main thing that kicked it off was people were waking up and learning stuff that they wanted people to remain in the dark about.
Probably one of the reasons why all of those guys flipped out and tried to have TikTok banned in the country. It's like, oh no, people are actually educating themselves outside of what we're throwing down their throats.
I can't tell you how many TikToks I saw of people that had gone through college. Like, I went to college and I went for 2 years, so I didn't get my degree. But there are so many people that had their degrees, or people that graduated high school just in general. I can't tell you how many TikToks I saw where people were like, I never learned this in school. Like the Tulsa riots, the awakening.
Never talked about it.
The awakening.
Thing,
yeah.
I never heard about it until just recently.
Black Wall Street. There are so many people educating people on like the nuances of racism, the nuances of white supremacy. They're teaching and people are learning that on TikTok. Especially a lot of white people, which, like you said, it's not y'all's fault, really. Now, it's not your fault because generally all of us were kept in the dark with the propaganda. But once you learn, if you continue the way that you were going, once you learn, then we can't. That's a person that doesn't want to change things. But there are a lot of people, especially palm-colored people, that are learning about Black history and what Black community goes through and what the Native Americans went through that they didn't know, that they didn't learn, because they're actually learning it from those people. There's a lot of Native American people on TikTok telling their story, their lived experiences. White people were not even aware of what these people are, what the natives are telling them, or what Black people are telling them. They thought because of everything they saw on TV, this is part of the propaganda machine. Of what they saw on TV, these white executives that own these TV stations, they want to present us as, say, example, Black people as ratchet and this and that and ghetto and all this. These white people that are learning about actual Black people, that we're actual teachers and scholars and nurses and stuff, mothers and stuff like that, chefs and cooks and artists, they weren't aware of all that. until they learned it on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, every platform's got its pluses and its minuses. Let's be real.
Right.
But I have heard quite a lot of good stories about what you just described.
Mm-hmm.
The educational aspect. People are, going out, they're researching, and then they're, sharing the knowledge through TikTok to get it out and get the message out. I mean, yeah, I'm all for that. There's also a lot of negative sides to that, but
right. But you could curate your algorithm.
Positive and no negative always.
Right. You could curate your For You page though too, because like say we were talking about learning Japanese. I follow a lot of Japanese creators that are specific teachers and experts on Japanese. Like I follow this one Japanese guy. He's a Japanese teacher, and then there's this other lady. She teaches Japanese, but she teaches like There's three. There's like Yakuza. There's Osaka, and then there's like Tokyo. So they have their own tones for certain words in Japan.
Okay.
She teaches that. She's awesome. And then there's like Chinese teachers. Like they go live and they actually teach you. And then like I said, there's Black history teachers, and they go and they show like the notes and receipts, so you can actually see it. So it's either 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. But yeah, of course, every platform has its pros and cons. But like I said, a lot of the education, you pick specifically the people that you want to follow. You'll see their stuff constantly.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I do on Twitter. Is I specifically pick out the people I want to follow, because that's kind of how the platform works, right? And then you see a lot of the content of which they provide. You can get access to other people who share similar ideas, and I mean, I've never really done the whole TikTok thing, but I mean, a friend of mine, a good former college buddy of mine, will occasionally share, a TikTok that he stumbled across. It's usually pretty amusing, and so I mean. Yeah, I've seen that too. I mean, but I think overall that the message is pretty awesome. It's like you can learn something and you can record yourself explaining it and you're get that message out there.
Yep.
I see that as a plus.
And it's very effective. That's why the politicians flipped out, because how do you think the K-pop community organized besides using Twitter? There's a large K-pop community. You remember when they messed up that rally and they were all upset about that? They organized on TikTok.
I think I heard a little bit about that.
There was a lady. There was she's a Gen Z. She's about like my age, my generation. She organized that protest. And then the K-pop community got a hold of all they did. Okay, this is the thing about the K-pop community. I love these K-pop kids. Okay, they'll like, I watch Twitter sometimes. That when the white supremacists tweet certain things, hashtags on Twitter, one K-pop person, they have code words, and they'll go in there with the code word, and it's basically the code word is like, y'all handle it. And then they will swamp that hashtag with nothing but K-pop fan cams. You know what I'm saying? It's like blowing the horn. Go handle it, troops. And then they'll go in there and they will swamp that hashtag with the K-pop. I love those K-pop kids.
How to turn a negative into a positive.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah. And all you have to do is get a hold of one of them, just one, and they will unleash the Kraken. Now that's an example of unleashing the Kraken.
Versus being in the courtroom and having somebody fart in your face and you're open for that. That's not exactly getting the Kraken. I don't know what I mean, that's a form of it, but not something I want to actually experience.
Yeah. So yeah, TikTok. Yeah, of course, like I said, there's good, bad everywhere. But yeah, the TikTok is a force to be reckoned with, and I don't want to brag too much because I want to take a chance of some Republican politician listening to my our live stream, and then they're going back. Since they got control of the Supreme Court, they'd be like, "Look, we got to get rid of TikTok." Oh, God.
I think it'd be a little bit worse than that. Kind of like going back to our previous conversation earlier, where back in Nazi Germany, they took care of the educated people.
Yep.
Sounds more like it's like these guys could be a threat. We got to eliminate them.
Yep. In an instant.
Right. So I'd be more worried about that than having them saying, "Oh, TikTok's being mentioned again. Let's tear it down."
But see, the thing is, TikTok is a vehicle of learning.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing.
I mean, at this point, though, I would almost assume that they probably do that just out of spite.
That too.
Shortly before we started this conversation, I saw that somebody had posted on Twitter that all of a sudden, the feds are going after Truth Social. It's like, it's about goddamn time. It's like they had enough treasure trove there. They should have been on that from day one. You want to know where all the insurrectionists are thinking? Go there. They'll tell you.
Not only that, though, I just do not understand how a foreign entity like Faux News, this man, Rupert Murdoch, has destroyed this country with just that one channel.
Well, I mean, you know what they say, follow the money.
I mean,
he got money.
But you know what? Jerry Hall has just filed for divorce. You see that Saturday? Or I think it's Friday? She filed for divorce. Okay, just think about this. As many years as they've been married, and she knows what a demon he is, she stayed with him. There's a reason why all of a sudden is she filing for divorce, because he's the Dominion thing, that lie, they're being sued right now.
Right.
So I look at little signs like that. And maybe, I mean, I'm not a prophet or nothing like that, and maybe I may be wrong, but my first gut feeling or instinct or thought was he's getting ready to finally be brought down, because she's leaving. She's flying the coop now. Like I said, she's been with that evil demon all these years, knowing who and what he is. So, money...
So she could single-handedly take this guy down by, assuming that she lives in a state where basically all the assets are split 50-50. So she'll get her half first, and then Dominion will take the rest, and this guy's left with nothing.
So why would she all of a sudden, like, that's what I'm saying. That's a sign to me, and woman's intuition. So she's been with him all this time, didn't care. So now all of a sudden they're getting sued, into oblivion, hopefully. Now she's trying to jump ship so she can jump ship with what she got, and they won't be taking hers.
It makes sense. I still wouldn't hold this woman in high regard, because, like,
I don't.
I've been with him all these years.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't. I absolutely don't. But I'm taking her behavior. I'm looking at her behavior.
Yeah, why would she handle this guy for so many years?
Exactly.
When she could have just left and preserved her dignity, other than the fact that we already know she doesn't have it.
Right. She has no character, exactly. But I'm looking at why she's doing what she's doing now.
Probably because there's actually something here to go after.
Exactly. That's it. Because she's jumping ship, like I said. He's how old? 90?
Too old.
Okay, well, he's not gonna live. He's not a vampire. I'll put it that way.
Are you sure?
He's not a vampire. He could be a zombie, but he's not a vampire. Okay, so he's got that going for him. He's not a vampire. That's going for us, because we won't have to deal with it much longer. But yeah, she's just as evil as he is.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a reason. I was watching her behave. I was like, okay, now all of a sudden you leaving, so it must be something that's getting ready to happen to him.
Honestly, it just can't happen fast enough.
I know. I'm just trying to be a little, tame where that's concerned. Trying to be You know.
I mean, you gotta take the wins where you can get them.
And I'm trying to be as nice as I can under the circumstances because I'm not saying what I want to say. I'm not saying what I want to say.
I don't think we've got enough bleeps for me to say.
When I gotta get a little button that makes one of those little horns.
It's funny that reminds me of a childhood memory that I have. That why I remember this, I don't know. Growing up, I got one of those little Mickey Mouse watches, and it would, if you pushed a little button, it'd go off and do like the whole Mickey Mouse thing kind of thing. But anyway, I remember that. I used to play with that a lot. I remember I had a watch, that little watch, and then we would basically, we wanted to pretend like we were cursing. We would play that. So we'd be having a conversation, a fake conversation with a friend of mine, and when we wanted to say bad words, we would just
hit the horn.
Like, the whole watch do the whole filling for us. Like, I don't know why I remember that. I just do.
That's funny. We gotta have some good memories because, especially under the circumstances.
Right.
Is it back to reality? Oh my goodness. I'm just trying to think. Okay, what kind of damage are gonna? They're cooking up some damage right now. They're probably in their little caves, stirring up a potion in their cauldron to unleash on us tomorrow.
Well, okay, and I'm of two minds of this. I guess it comes from being a Gemini. I don't know, but one of mine, one of the sides of me is just ultimately just really, really pissed off. And that's the point. We're supposed to be pissed off.
Yep.
And I feel like that's supposed to be a distraction. People on Twitter are saying that this is, timed specifically to get us off the J6 commission, all that stuff. But the other part of me is trying to think that there can be hope, too. We are pissed off collectively on both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans alike. We're all pissed off. And do I like Republicans? No. No, I don't. I don't at all. But there are enough of them out there that even Friday's opinion, the whole repealing of the whole Abortion Act, pissed off quite a few on the Republican aisle. That it's hard to say what we're going to see in November, but they may have just woke the sleeping giant. They probably should not have done that. And I want to be hopeful that they did, in fact, poke the bear one too many times.
And that's a luxury I can't do. I'm not afforded that luxury to be hopeful at this point, especially from recent events, from what I've witnessed. Now, like I said, I've tried to. My thought process didn't happen overnight because you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially politicians and stuff like that. But if I keep seeing shenanigans and them not responding accordingly to urgency, like they have not been responding with any urgency. And I'm just like you and everybody else at this point. I'm not going to give them a pass just because they're a Democrat. No, you're supposed to be held accountable. Okay?
Yeah.
You are more than party affiliation, because especially if you're holding office that deals with people's lives, daily lives. Okay, yes, we should be allowed to hold you accountable because we're paying you. We're paying you. And you're taking our taxes anyway. So, I mean, I'm just I'm not pleased. I'm not going to be fake about it. I'm not pleased at all. I've tried.
I have an idea that might make you feel better.
What?
What if we sang a song on Capitol Hill?
Bleep, 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 bleep.
There we go.
Bleep.
That didn't make everything better?
Bleep.
That was the only appropriate response there.
Bleep.
I felt better.
Oh my God. Ugh. Just thinking about it. I can't wait. I'm going to show you that video. Wait, hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can pull this up. So you see what I'm talking about. This was just like the shenanigans of shenanigans. I almost dropped the F-bomb because it's just like infuriating.
I forgot people, let's be honest.
It was the shenanigans of shenanigans. Hold on a second. Let me pull up my profile here. Look at this. Okay, here's my profile. Okay. Okay, there it is right there. Let's see here.
Effing useless for singing God.
Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm gonna. Okay, that's not it. Okay, there we go.
Oh, hey, look at that.
For singing God Bless America.
Okay.
House Democrats called effing useless for singing God Bless America by Capitol after Roe ruling. Somebody on Twitter said, leave it to Democratic leadership to bring a sing-along to a gunfight where Republicans are using bazookas and jet fuel to torch our rights. And that's absolutely how I feel and how I always feel. Watch this.
The night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
House Democrats called effing useless.
You see me right there with the Titanic?
You know, I often bring a spoon to a knife fight, so.
No, they brought a feather to a gunfight.
I guess somebody's laughing as they're being tickled by this, but I mean, come on.
They brought a feather to a gunfight. But look, we can. Let me see here. I'm gonna. I'll show you something funny. This is. Okay, the other night, like I said, I was in bed for like a couple of days. Let's see here. Hold on a second. So this was.
I lost so much sleep this weekend. It's not even funny.
Okay, this will be funny here. This was me when I went to bed the other night. I was just trying to think of something to. Okay, here. Yeah, I said I want to go back and beat up Doofus and Chief's grandpappy.
Honestly, I love the facial expression.
Yeah.
You know, the shower cap just kind of added.
No, that's my bonnet to keep my hair up in there. Cause the only thing I had on was a little lip gloss. That was it. No makeup. Like I said, I just couldn't function. I put on makeup. I couldn't eat. Nothing. I was just paralyzed of grief. But look, I tell you what. This is another one that's funny. You think you like this one? This is one of my native friends here. I duetted her this morning. I try to do like funny political commentaries type stuff, but dealing with what the issues are. Some of the stuff I'm real brutal about though, because I try to get a point across, like this one. I mean, are we wrong? Are we wrong?
I mean, there comes a point where if that's considered wrong, do I want to be right?
Oh, here's one even better. I love this lady. She's funny. Hold on a second. Yeah, here's another one. Just because, I mean, okay, panicked. That's what the word I was looking for. I kind of felt a panic. Like panicked. Like I was hyperventilating. That makes sense. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
Out to play ball so we could ruin them. Mama said that it was okay. Mama said that it was fine, alright. Out to play ball so we could ruin them. Mama said that it was okay. Mama said that it was fine, alright.
I mean, we got to come up with something, some kind of tactic for protection.
I mean, that's what we do. I mean, I'm no therapist, but I've certainly had my fair share of time with one. You know, you got to find your way to keep going. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yep. Well, I mean, there could be a point, but they won't let you get to that point because they're trying to make as much money out of you as possible. They're trying to squeeze every ounce of it.
Right? We were talking earlier tonight, you know, my sitting on the edge theory, right, is they won't allow us to make enough money to prosper.
Right.
But they won't allow us to be poor enough to die.
Right.
So they just keep us. Okay, I guess good example. Did you see the Deadpool movie by chance? Right? Maybe? Where like one of the punishments that they put him through is basically they lock him in like this little chamber where they drop the oxygen level, you know, just enough to cause pain, but not enough to kill him. You know, and it's like that's kind of how it feels here. It's like you're gasping for your next breath. You can't die, but you can't live. So
and isn't that kind of sadistic? That's like really sadistic.
Look at the party that we're talking about. It's in control.
Well, but see, it's not just them. Because think about Squid Game. Remember all those elites? They were sitting in a room and they were watching the contestants fight to the death.
I mean, tell me that's not peak capitalism,
right?
You know, it's like, you know, I've got so much money. I don't want for anything. I don't need anything. But damn it, I'm bored. You know what will make me happy? Let's watch people kill each other for cash.
That's it, basically. Remember that movie years ago with Whoopi Goldberg, Rat Race?
Remind me.
Okay, Rat Race was based on the movie from the 50s called The Wild, 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 Wild World with Mickey Rooney. Remember that? All those people, they were driving across country to go get like $1 million to try to dig up $1 million somewhere, so they had to follow this map.
That's the point I thought you were getting to. Okay.
Yeah, so the original was like in the 50s, I believe. It had Mickey Rooney and it was like an all-star cast. And then Rat Race.
In the 50s, you could have said, hey, there's $50,000 there, and people would be slitting each other's throats for that.
Well, Rat Race
was
was
a lot of money back then.
Rat Race was like basically based off of that movie, but the same concept. So they got all these people, these poor people, and the rich people were up in their little luxury box making bets on watching these poor people running across the country, going through God knows whatever to get to the money. And then at the end, what? They didn't really win anything, which like that was sadistic in itself because the whole time they're doing this, they're thinking they're going to get to a pot of gold. And then the rich people just yank it out from under them at the end.
Well, I mean, I brought up a topic earlier, thinking about kind of like the same thing with the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll send you off with promises that if you ever come back, we'll reward you for that. And then it's like they come back, it's like, you weren't supposed to make it.
Right.
Look at all the BAs that everyone yells and complains about. We're supposed to be treating the people that came back, and they don't come back the same.
And then they don't have homes.
They have to go fight the rich man's fight and promise that they're going to get rewarded for doing so. We'll pay for your school, because schooling in America is stupid expensive anyway.
Yep.
That's how we're going to afford to go to school. I'll put myself in harm's way, and maybe I come back alive just so I can get an education and get away from all this BS.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I guess some people do make it out. Some people do collect some of that reward, but oftentimes, like if they come back wounded, we just leave them.
Yeah, they're only allowed in they come back wounded. They come back psychologically wounded as well as physically wounded. They stay in the hospital. 30 days is up. You're on your own. Your money ran out. You gotta go.
Right.
And then they end up on the street.
All of this is just, the more I think about this, the more I think that, the original Indians kind of had it right? They took what they needed. They used the whole animal. They didn't have really, any sort of capital. It was like a barter system. Mm-hmm. Hey, I see you making that necklace, but I don't have, how do I pay for this? Yep. Oh, well, you've got some chickens over there. Give me a chicken, I'll give you this necklace. Yep. Okay, cool, done, trade, boom, good, mm-hmm. We're good to go. Now all of a sudden we've got money introduced, and the Indians well, what do we do with money?
Right.
Trust me, this is how you buy things. We got, they got sold this con of, hey, money is important, and the rest is history here. Now all of a sudden we're competing against one another. The rich men are watching us, because they don't do any work. They've set up they set up everything originally. They did the work originally. Mm-hmm. Going back to the early settler days, right? You had the Rockefellers and all these other elites, right? That they had skills. They used the skills up until the point where they didn't need to because they could buy people to do it for them.
Right.
Now they're sitting up in their offices watching everybody else break their backs while they make the money.
The same thing with the slaves. It's the same thing with the slaves. It's like, okay, they built the country, and then when they finally signed the freedom or so-called freedom, then it's like, oh, we'll give you 40 acres and a mule to start, to start building your own wealth and live. Nope, they didn't get the 40 acres and a mule. The slave owners got all the land and they got reimbursed, but the free slaves got nothing. So all of that, like this whole country, like Wall Street, when we say slaves built this country, and the not the sacrifice, but and because the natives being genocided, when we say we built this country, Wall Street built its entire wealth from selling slaves. The existence of Wall Street would not have existed as powerful and rich as it is without slaves. So why are we not paid reparations yet? And that's just one little corner of it,
Well, I mean, honestly, think about it though. I mean, if you had a system where you didn't have to pay your employees anything, and
then I'd be Amazon.
The cash, I mean, you might be tempted to do the same.
I'd be Jeff Bezos.
I can be a millionaire. I don't have to actually care about the people that are doing the work for me, and if they die, they die, as long as I stay rich.
Elon Musk.
There's a lot of people. Okay, without dropping names, we're going to drop names.
I'd be Elon Musk, Mr. Apartheid himself.
Don't get me started on that guy.
I can't stand him. I never liked him.
There was a point before he became ultra douche that I thought, hey, this guy's kind of cool.
I never liked him when especially finding out where he came from. He built his wealth off of African slave apartheid. That's how he and his family built their wealth. No, I never liked him. He smelled from a mile away.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was still impressionable at that point, thinking, hey, this guy, I didn't know a whole lot about him when he first came around. It's like, hey, this guy could be somebody I can model myself after. This guy seems successful, cool. And then, like all American dreams, they eventually get shattered. And you start finding out who this guy really is and what he's about. And he's like, he doesn't have any fucking character. Oh, I probably couldn't say that.
Bleep! That's okay. That's okay.
Oops. He doesn't have any character of his own.
Nope.
I mean, look at the way he struts out on stage and does this stupid little dance. Who does that remind you of? Some orange piece of turd? He's got no character. He thinks he can buy, coolness,
And that's the thing. He bought all of, like, Tesla. Somebody else built Tesla. He just bought it from them and slapped his name on it. And he got himself an office and put his little name on it.
Kind of reminds me of old Tommy Hilfiger back in the day. Hey, I'll take some Levi's, rip off the tag, put my own on there. Look, I've got a product.
Yep.
Sounds the same. And the racism's included.
That part. Pay extra for the racism. Right?
I'm going to take $20 jeans and sell them for $65 because I'm racist.
And then Lululemon. Okay, that dude. He specifically named his crappy, I can't say bleepity bleep, yoga pants because Japanese can't say L's. That Lululemon with the racism there, he thought that was funny. That he named it just like that because he said Japanese people can't say L's.
Right.
So who are you making those pants for? Shapeless lice pirates? Shapeless lice pirates? That's what I called him. And I'm not referring to you.
I probably could have, come up with a bunch of these different business plans myself, and I probably could have pulled it off, but I just don't have the heart to scam people. It's just, the world's hard enough. Why make it harder?
But the thing is, you can make it if you don't scam people. It's just that
you can.
It's just that
harder.
Yeah, it's harder.
Work for it.
It's harder, but you get more. For me personally, I would feel more peaceful when I slept.
Exactly. I don't like that idea. Yeah, there's a lot of different things I've always joked about when I was younger with some of my colleagues or not colleagues, but like school buddies, right? And we joked about doing all kinds of horrible, terrible things, and for short term, and getting out of it before we got caught, doing some really ethically or ethically non-conforming ideas that could have really, really backfired on us. So we joked about that kind of thing. It's like I could never actually pull it off, just because I have self-worth. I have dignity. I have respect for others. I mean, the idea of putting people down for my own benefit doesn't appeal to me. Mm-hmm. But a lot of these people got to where they are because they don't have that sort of, same, internal character.
There's no reason a billionaire or trillionaire should exist. Not one.
No.
There's no reason.
And going back to my late girlfriend's, comments here, I miss her. But
you miss her?
Right. She told me once, it's like, no one has ever made $1 billion. And if you look at it and you do the math, you'll realize it is impossible under normal salaries to ever achieve $1 billion in a lifetime.
Exactly.
You can't. So no one has ever made $1 billion. You just can't. But you can exploit a lot of people to get you there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I just don't have it in me to do that.
Yep. That's why nobody that's in that for me personally, I have no respect for anybody in that tax bracket. No one. Oprah, nobody. I have no respect for somebody in that well, and it has nothing to do with jealousy. I'm not jealous of them. No, I would not ever want to be a billionaire myself. I mean, personally, I could live the rest of my days with just like $1 million.
I want a little bit more than that.
Depending on the cost of living. If the cost of living didn't keep going up, I could live the rest of my days with $1 million and make more money from that. But
a really good start. I mean, a really good start.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that I wouldn't need any more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much do you really need? Even if I wanted to leave something for my kids, okay, I could take that $1 million and make it work for me to build something with a foundation that would make money for my kids when I'm gone.
Right.
So, I mean, that's all people want to just be comfortable and have stuff paid, and you know what I'm saying. And I'm personally not one of these luxury type people. I mean, I would like to travel, but I'm not. I wouldn't want to do extravagant travel like the traveling that I wanted to do for my company, my production company, especially. I wanted to do stuff like Anthony Bourdain did. That's the kind of show and stuff I wanted to do because I never seen a black woman do a show like that. So that's how I was going to model my concept. I wanted to go to different countries, not go to the 4 5 star hotels. I wanted to go meet the people, eat their street food, the off the beaten path type thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
that'd be fun. I hear ya. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
Those are dreams I still have. I mean, maybe one day I might be able to do that, but I mean,
right now,
California, for example, I mean, I think I make a pretty decent salary, but I'm practically paycheck to paycheck because once I pay off all my bills, I got nothing left. I mean, we were talking like I pay a lot in rent. I mean, in comparison to what you're paying, I pay double what you're paying. And I've got like an 800 square foot apartment for twice what you're paying for your house. And this is what I'm making work right now. I can't afford to go out and buy a home because houses out here, in my area, they're going for on average starting at $650,000. Even if I had that kind of money, what else could I be using that on?
Mm-hmm.
You go back to accounting terms here, that's opportunity cost.
Mm-hmm.
So my opportunity cost to buy a home, I'm having to give up $650,000 of other money I could be using somewhere else.
Right.
So even if I could afford the house out here, why? Why would I buy a house here? That $650,000 is still $650,000. I could take that somewhere else and not be stuck here, paying higher taxes and higher gas prices than the rest of the country.
And paying for a fascist government. That's the thing.
I mean, overall, I guess, not necessarily like California is fascist, but the whole nation's being basically, led by fascists. So,
it's bleeding over.
If I could take that money and then go buy a house somewhere else, like another country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely will.
Yep.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to stay here.
Nope. Absolutely not. Because nobody is fixing. Basically, I guess Dems are figuring, well, we got ours, and we'll just try to keep the masses calm. But from what I'm witnessing of their behavior, singing a hymn, okay, they're not concerned. They are not concerned. They aren't
like
concerned.
I said before, it's like we don't really have a clear-cut winner. You've got one American party that's just downright domestic terrorists.
Yep.
And their actions prove that day in and day out.
And they're not hiding it.
They're proud of who they are.
They're not
going to change who they are.
They're not hiding it.
No, they're not hiding it. They take off their hoods. They're exposing them for exactly who they are. And they are basically saying, you're stuck with us. You're not getting rid of us. We're everywhere.
Well,
and then you got the other party that's singing Kumbaya on the Capitol Hill steps, and it's like, wow, instead of actually fighting for our rights, we're going to have a sing-along. So, I mean... Okay,
and then go on vacation after the fact. Well, they're on vacation. They're on recess. Like...
I wish I got paid what they got paid. I wish I had as much time off as they have. That would be nice. That would be great. But somebody actually has to make this country work, so I go to work. I do my job. I do my job well. And, my reward, I get to barely eat for the next day.
Yeah.
So I can continue doing this tomorrow.
Right.
Like I said, paycheck to paycheck. I got bills to pay. But meanwhile, these congressmen, they don't actually have to work. They can pretend to work. Hell, they're probably even friends with each other.
They are. They are.
WWE, Psych Fest, where it looks like, they hate each other.
I mean,
in real life, they're probably best friends.
Biden said it. He said, "My friends across the aisle, the friends that attacked the Capitol, spread feces all over the place, beat cops, killed a cop, took the American flag, beating cops and people, threatened to hang our vice president, and you still call them your friends across the aisle."
I would be, my character would not allow me to say
no. I would wake up, bleep, 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 in my sleep, bleep, 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 bleep. It just, yeah, yeah.
I don't have friends across the aisle that do this kind of thing.
I mean, I understand he's trying to be diplomatic.
On that side of the aisle. I've got ties with my family that associates with that side of the aisle.
Yeah, my friends.
These aren't my friends. These aren't my family.
Yeah,
you can't do this and then expect to say, I'm a patriot because I support this.
Nope.
It's not patriotic.
You gotta stand for something because, like you were saying, I had people that I was friends with 30-something years, went to school with, over 30-something years, and when they showed support for Doofus and Chief, it was just with click. I didn't need to see anything else, and I didn't feel bad about it. 30 years down the tubes because of them, because they didn't see the humanity in me, and knowing that man thought of me as less than 3/5 of a human, but they supported that. No, I had no problem blocking them.
I don't really know what to do at this point. So while I'm here, I'm going to continue to vote for the party that's not openly terroristic. I don't have a whole lot of faith in them.
Yeah.
Not at all.
But I mean, we got no choice.
But at least while I'm here, I'm going to try to do something that hopefully makes a difference.
Right.
Versus voting for the people that actively want to kill me.
Right. Basically.
I mean, at this point, it feels like it's more of the illusion of hope.
Yeah. You're right.
I mean, singing fucking God Bless America on the Capitol steps does not inspire confidence in me.
Nope. I was, like I said, when I saw that, I was just like, I had to take another day. I like, for 2 days, I couldn't function. I just couldn't get up.
Mike's cutting out.
Oh, can you hear me?
Hey, there she is.
I was like, yeah, I couldn't function after that day. And then I saw that on the Capitol. I was like, we're doomed. Like, you try to stay optimistic because you don't want to, like, start a panic type thing where you're going to get people, just, like you said, the illusion of, all I know is I'm panicked because I want out of here. And
honestly, yeah. So going back on the whole talk of Japanese here. I've been teaching myself for the last year and a half. I'm going to be taking the JLPTN 5, at the end of the year. I know it's not like a big deal, but at least it's a start.
Right.
I want to continue building off of that. I was hoping I was going to have more time to stay here so that my kids could get out of school and not have to disrupt their lives and have to pull them away from their friends and their family and their location and all that jazz.
Right. But for their sake,
I had time before the world went to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking with my oldest this morning before I dropped him off, so he can do his barn duties. Since he's being a barn manager intern, he wants to be a barn manager next year for the FFA, and he loves the fact that I support him on that. I absolutely do. I don't want to have to pull him away from these things, but at the same time, with this world falling apart as fast as it is, I don't have a whole lot of choice in the matter.
Right.
So, when I told my son I was talking with you and about some of the plans that we were talking about, I asked him, what are your thoughts on this? And he just kind of took a deep breath, let it out, and said, I think you've got the right idea. It just is so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And even he said, I thought we had more time.
Mm-hmm. And that's profound. Like, I couldn't imagine. He's 16 years old and him saying it like that. And then you're hearing, I thought we had more time.
My heart can't break any more than it already has. I'm still mourning the loss of my amazing, girlfriend. She passed away last year. That still hurts. It still hits like a tank. I can't go a single day without thinking about how much I miss her. And with that being said, the other part of that hurts me to say, I'm kind of glad she's not here to see this.
Right.
It would crush her.
That's how I look at for my parents because of what they went through. The civil rights era. I miss my parents and love them. I'm especially glad my mom's not here to see what happened after all they went through.
I don't recognize this place anymore.
And I had already...
People are fighting for us.
Right.
We're the people that go to work. We're the people that make this country function. And I don't feel like the elected officials that we voted for are doing their jobs.
They aren't. They simply aren't.
Us.
Like I said, they have no reason to, really. Like you said, they put on airs, but they have no reason to.
Both sides of the aisles, they're collecting lobbyist money.
Yep.
What is lobbying money?
Yep.
Basically, it's legal bribery.
Yep.
Hey, I'm a big corporation. I've got deep pockets. Tell you what, I will give you money to abandon Sharon and Aaron. Abandon them.
Mm-hmm.
They need us, but I'll pay you not to help them.
Yep.
If you help me make more money. So the Sharon and Aarons of the world, we're left out. We're not even thought about. Let's be honest.
Nope.
Sure, I want to believe that I'm wrong about this.
But you aren't.
I don't think I am. You see these congressmen. They tweet nice, pretty things, but I don't see them pushing.
I ignore them now because, like, I used to respect them to a point, but especially when I see them coming through my feed, first off, I click to make sure I'm not following them because I used to follow a bunch of them, but because of them and their empty tweets, I just scroll, because there's nothing, no action that comes behind it. Yeah, beep. There's no action that comes behind it. None. They're on recess right now. They're on recess. After Friday, they sing hymns. Now everybody's on recess. while we are down here in the trenches.
Every day.
We're in the trenches. Like I'm literally feel like every day I'm feeling like my chest. Like my son was like, "You want to go to the hospital?" I don't want to go to the hospital. I'm terrified of going to the ER. I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Thanks to our wonderful American healthcare system, even with insurance, we're going to bankrupt you for using our service.
But not even that. Now there's the lack of privacy now, thanks to the overruling. There's no privacy.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we were talking about here, So talking with my dad this morning about the conversation I had with my son about, where we stand, and thinking, oh, well, I thought we had more time before, this world, imploded. We're talking about, all of the things that are going on here, all the rulings and this, that, and the other. And my dad brings up this comment of, well, what about all these companies that are, going to pay for their employees to go get an abortion?
I don't trust them.
My first thought was, okay, yeah, fair point. Counterpoint, how many of them funded the Republicans that got us where we are?
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of those big companies, I guarantee you they did.
Yep.
Do I know exactly who they are off the top of my head? No, but I guarantee you there's a list. So
yep. There is a list. There is a list because I saw it. I saw the list.
Anyway,
yep.
So my thought was, okay, so they're going to pay up to like $4,000 for this, their female employees to go get, an abortion. But let's take Texas, for example. That Texas passed a law saying, hey, if you know of anybody that's going to go get one, we'll give you $10,000 for reporting them.
Yep.
So what if these companies that are actually going to, give these people money to go get an abortion leak their names because privacy doesn't matter anymore? So now we've let, Susie go get an abortion, but we're also telling, the Texas, authorities, hey, we sent Susie out to go get an abortion. Where's my money?
And not only that,
the company gets $10,000. So they made $6,000 off of ruining Susie's life.
But they may make.
She's going on vacation to get something taken care of here.
They may make more than that because you forget the sex trafficking.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
The domestic supply of infants.
Right. I mean, Amy Coney Barrett, she needs her domestic supply of infants.
And then there's sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, I suppose. I mean, I don't know how probable, but sure, you can throw that in there. But they're guaranteed if they leak those names to certain people, they're going to get that reward. And
yep.
Susie's life as we know it is basically over.
Yep.
But the company doesn't really care because they never really cared about you because they donated to Republicans in the first place.
So they got a list, and then they got those women's names on there. It's like 10,000, 20,000, 40,000.
It's a business transaction.
Yep.
No company does the right thing.
Nope.
Until they are forced to do so.
Yep. So that's what my first thought was.
Need to understand.
Yeah, when I saw that on Twitter, when they were like, "Oh, these companies are gonna pay," First off, like everything you said. First off, that I was thinking that's a marketing ploy, because if people see their names in the headlines saying that they're helping, then they're going to get people to come shop at their business. Because what first tweets we see? Oh, I'm going to go shop with them. I'm going to go shop with them.
Okay, and let's take that. Since today is still technically part of June. What is June? Pride Month, right?
Right.
What happens at the very beginning of Pride Month? All of a sudden, all these companies that could care less if you're gay starts vomiting rainbow flags all over their businesses to try to bring you in because, look, we care.
Just like they did with Juneteenth.
The first thing that they're going to do, at the stroke of midnight, June 30th,
take it down.
Rip all that script down, and then they're going to pretend like it never happened.
Yep.
Until next year, when they're going to do it again, exactly on June 1st, throw those rainbow flags all over the place, saying, look how accepting we are.
Yep.
But we really don't care about you. But they do it because it brings business in.
Yep.
They don't care about you. They just want your money.
But nobody's got any money, so that's my thing now. None of us have any money. We have no extra money. So now they're going into like selling humans, basically, because of these bounties that they've got on women's heads.
These rich people, they're going to do whatever it takes to make money, and if you don't got it, we're going to get it out of you. So we'll just take you, and you're going to make me my money.
We have to make money obsolete, and we have the power to do that.
Yeah, but the problem is that we don't have the backing to do that. I mean, look at the whole idea behind universal health care.
Mm-hmm.
When people found out in California, for example, that, oh my gosh, my taxes are going to go up a little bit, like a tiny fraction of amount, to pay for universal health care, they didn't even consider the fact that they would never have to pay copays again. They just saw, oh no, taxes going up. That's bad. No, I don't want that. So they passed up on a better opportunity because they weren't educated enough to understand that a little increase in your tax revenue, or just your taxes, a little increase in your taxes was still going to save you a lot more money down the road.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't smart enough to understand that. So the idea that we have the ability to get rid of, money completely, people are not going to be behind that because they're just not educated enough to understand that it can work. And that's where we sit. These congressmen have done everything that they could to destroy America and this country. They were not collectively smart enough to fight back. And that is exactly their plan, and it has worked.
Well, I'll tell you what, this boycott coming up for next month, I have a feeling that they are going to get more than they expected because there has been a movement, so to speak, on Twitter, on TikTok, and we're done. We're like, let me hold on. I'm gonna pull up that video so you can see it.
Would you send me that? Because I want to hear more about this. I mean,
yeah.
I've heard a little bit of fluttering around this kind of concept, but I haven't seen much details.
Okay.
Kind of like today, there's been a lot of talk about making today, and even though today's already spent, by the way,
right?
Basically, making a general strike
mm-hmm.
kind of thing today. Personally, I thought, okay, that sounds well and good and all, but man, did this come up quick, and it wasn't very well organized. And because like most people were still reeling from the verdict on Friday, that we weren't prepared,
right,
to go on a strike. I think a strike will work if it's organized and held and done the right way. I mean, I felt like today would be like trying to push today. I wasn't ready for this. I could have taken the day off. I very well could have taken the day off. I just didn't think, personally, it was going to be effective for me to take the day off because I didn't have the notice really to do so. So if I didn't, how could millions of others who are barely keeping their lives together?
Let me pull up this video here. Let me see. So you can see this is a little bit of it. Let me see here. Tell me if you can see it or hear this. Okay. Okay, there we go.
Starts on the 4th of July. Hey, y'all, hey. So a lot of y'all been asking when, where, how, when do we get this started? So it starts on 4th of July. Our first day to stop is going to be on the 4th of July. Our first day, y'all. 4th of July. We're not buying shit. We're not doing shit. We're not driving. We're not posting. We're not getting the bus. We're not flying. We're not booking shit. We're not doing anything. Do you understand? No fireworks, no red, white, and blue shirts. Don't go nowhere. Stay the fuck at the house. It starts on the 4th of July. You want a day? We're not going to just boycott one thing. We're going to boycott every fucking thing. Do you understand me? And to those of you who are all a little slow, you don't get it, don't buy shit, don't go nowhere, stay at the goddamn house. Don't buy nothing on the 4th of July. Don't post. Hey, y'all, hey. So
That's how that's going to go. Hold on, here's another one.
You know,
So,
when we...
Yep, so that there, so that's one, and then there's a addition. So I mean, it's organized, and there's like different, basically what she was saying, but this is part of the same thing here. This one here. So, but this guy's video, let me see here.
Well, you don't have to convince me not to do anything on the 4th of July.
Well, I wanna make sure there's a record of this. So
Tell people and participate. Do not buy gas for your car July 3rd through the 5th. People are trying to organize a boycott, and hopefully that will bring the price of gas down. This has been done before. It has worked before. Repost this, share, tell people, and participate. Do not buy gas.
So yeah, that was my duet with him. So that's the plan, Stan.
Well, I mean, I know for a fact that this weekend coming up, generally my boys would be going up on this weekend. I don't know if they're going to go or if they're going to choose to stay home or not, since they're old enough that they can make a choice. But my youngest has been going up, and my oldest has been kind of staying behind now lately. But I still have to drive basically 130 miles north, on Sunday to go pick up, and then 130 miles back. For me, it's a whole tank of gas. So, I mean, when if my boys go at all to see their mom this weekend, that's a tank of gas. So I don't have a whole lot of choice in this matter, but I could buy on Sunday, not the 4th of July. But I mean, some of the situations in my life, I can't help but to, break certain boycotts. So like, I would love to not buy gas this weekend. I would love not to have.
Well, don't you have a tank? Don't you have a portable tank? Oh, you don't. Oh, you don't have one of those. Get one from somebody at your work if they got like one of those gas cans. See if you can borrow a gas can and just go ahead and just tell them you need it for a couple of days, and then just fill it up.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah,
I mean, that could work.
Just ask somebody you work with.
I don't want to have to to perpetuate this. I really don't.
Right.
I want to be part of the plan that we
ask somebody, because you work with a lot of guys, right?
Yeah, actually we do.
Okay. Well, I'm sure they got an extra tank.
An interesting thing in and of itself. I mean, there's a sign that I could share with you later that resonates with me. And again, my late girlfriend had this posted in her bedroom, and I thought this was the greatest thing ever. It's it's a dual message, and it says, believe there is good in the world, but then like certain letters of it are highlighted. It says be the good that's in the world. Right. And so with where I work, we are predominantly male. And although I don't have necessarily the ability to make the change, like to hire people, fortunately my boss relies heavily on my opinion. And we did hire a female engineer, and she really just wowed the hell out of us. She was great. She was a perfect fit for this position, and she's been doing wonderful. And also, we recently were interviewing interns, and I made the push that, hey, we should go with a female intern. So, I mean, I'm trying to be the change that the world needs to see. So, while we are predominantly male, I am trying to, at least get women, into the workforce. Is qualified women, for anybody who's out there that's watching this. Okay, first of all, you're not there.
Right.
Second of all, I am trying to make a difference here.
Well, so So ask some of your guy friends that have trucks. Tell them you need to borrow their gas can and do that. Fill it up.
It's funny you say that because like almost half the guys that work there, they all have Toyotas, pickup trucks. So yeah, somebody's got a gas can.
They got a gas can. You saw that was mine. That one that was in the video. That was my gas can. I just duetted that guy. It had that big gas can.
I appreciate that point. So if I get that pre-filled,
yep.
then yeah, I don't have to buy gas this week.
Exactly.
It's already bought.
Yep.
So I appreciate thinking outside the box there. I mean,
I'm good for something.
When I'm at work, I can come up with a lot of really creative solutions.
Yeah.
But at home, I'm kind of limited to what I have, and I don't have a gas can. So that idea is not going to do because I don't have one.
So you don't have one though, but you got to think.
Somebody else does.
One of my friends has a gas can.
Anybody's got a truck, guaranteed they got a gas can.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'll ask them. That's a good point. I'll ask them this weekend if I can borrow a gas.
And you don't even have to tell them what you're doing. But I mean, if they seem cool, tell them what you're doing and ask them to join.
Well, and that's the thing is, I think the majority of the people I work with are open to ideas like this because, so I came into work this morning and my boss he took off a little early on Friday. I think I told the story where basically I sent everybody else in the engineering department home because we were all just kind of pissed, really. So I came in this morning and I told them about all of that. It's like, look, I made the decision after you left. I sent us all home. It's like, oh. Okay, yeah, it was kind of a shitty day, so I don't blame him. So he understood. So if he understood, then I think a lot of other people at work would totally get the point. And just
because it's for their benefit too.
In passing, it's like, hey man, this is going down. If you want to be part of it, then don't do this. Stay home.
I mean, we got to try something. We have to try something. We got to try something, and so this is the least we could do. I mean, like you said, we in mass, we can make a difference. Like one person here or there, it's kind of hard. Although, like I said, for me, one person, I refuse to shop at Walmart, Kroger, and all those places. And I will drive all the way across town to my little Asian market. I don't care. I'll drive on fumes over those crappy roads with the potholes to get to my little Asian market.
Yeah, so speaking of that, before we went live here, a friend of mine had sent me a message on Facebook Messenger and was saying, hey, want to go to an Asian market? I was like, yes. Especially because we just had this conversation.
Yep.
Like, yes, I want to do that.
Yep.
I mean, for one, I've never been to one because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I grew up on grocery stores. I've never really, again, I don't really think too much out of the box in my own personal life, but at work, I mean, I come up with a lot of crazy ideas and things usually work. I stick with what I know and what I have available. Mm-hmm. And this has always worked for me, so I don't really, deviate too much out of it. So now that I'm getting experience, getting exposure to other things that are out there, now I'm going to start, changing some of my, my thought processes here. So going out there and getting exposed to, at least Asian markets and this other thing, I'm excited about it.
The atmosphere is so much better.
Things, I can make changes in my own life that make better changes down the road.
And honestly, considering where I live, I feel safer at the Asian market because, like I said, like Walmart, Kroger's, and those places, they allow gun nuts to walk in there with guns. The Asian market, they don't do that at the Asian market. Plus, people wear masks. I mean, there are people that go in there that don't wear masks, but it's just to get a common courtesy for everybody to wear masks. And I feel at peace. I feel calm. I feel relaxed when I'm shopping in there because I feel safe. That's the only place I feel safe.
Yeah, and thinking back to like the last couple of years, I mean, when you heard about like a mass shooting, they typically occurred at Walmart. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't know. What's the big trouble about Walmart?
Because they sell guns. They actually sell guns at Walmart.
Well, yeah, I know that.
But then, not only that, you have these Karens. Remember those Karen videos that were going viral?
Oh, God. They're still out there,
Yeah. So I avoid that at the Asian market. We don't have any of that at the Asian market. Huh?
You're not going to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's the whole point.
The people that would go up to the managers like, I need you to tell that person to send them back to their own country.
That's the whole
You're
point.
in an Asian market.
That's right.
What are you doing in an Asian market? You're going to tell everyone
right?
to go home.
That's the whole point. Yep.
Yeah, they won't be there.
No Karens and no Chads and no guns. And
it sounds like heaven.
Yep. I mean, and plus you still, even considering the prices are high, there's still some stuff, a lot of stuff like fresh vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. Well, certain fruits. But I mean, it's still like the price of certain things compared to like a Walmart or Kroger, you still get a better deal.
Right.
Plus you got a choice of fresh meat, fresh fish, depending on which Asian market you go. Most of the Asian markets, even especially the big one, is called H Mart. We don't have an H Mart here, but the H Mart is kind of like the Walmart of Asian marts. So they have like a department in the back where they have fresh fish and crabs and lobsters and stuff. So you can see them in the aquarium and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I just got to give you a heads up here. I got to get going here soon. I got to still make dinner for the young man.
Okay, look, we hit our two hour mark. Didn't realize it's 2 hours.
Like, man, we've been talking
this is awesome.
It doesn't feel like it.
Thank you for joining me, Aaron.
Do a rhythm here.
So we're gonna do this again tomorrow because we got the. I'll be watching it while you're at work, but the hearing tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna have to do a recap.
Speculating who's this mystery guest, and I was like, I'm prepared to be underwhelmed.
So we're gonna do a podcast tomorrow. Yes. Yay.
Well, probably not.
Okay.
I was planning on going kickboxing with my son tomorrow night.
Okay.
I got some pawn share I got to get worked out here, so.
Well, just message me. I'm gonna watch because I'm not sure. I might have another guest tomorrow. But you have been a fun guest, Aaron. Thank you.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We're gonna have to do it again.
I've never done one of these before, but it's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on here and be part of your podcast.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna talk to you later. Tell your son I said hi.
All right, you got it.
Good night.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.